Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today we're working on yoga for the back. Now, while all yoga is good for the back, today we're really working through some poses that will help open up the hips, which cause a lot of lower back pain, and really get some mobility in the spine. So if you're ready, get on your mat, and I'll meet you there. We'll begin today in a forward fold. So step to the front of your mat, let the feet go about hip distance apart, bend into the knees deeply, and start to fold over your legs. Let the hands come to the floor, the feet. You can rest the elbows on the knees, whatever feels good. We're just looking to where we can kind of hang here from the hips. So your sit bones are going up toward the sky and kind of turning that tailbone up, and that's what straightens the legs. All right, so if they don't go all the way straight, no problem at all. Keep them as bent as they need to be so that your abdomen remains on your thighs. And start to deepen the breath. Now, if you want to grab opposite elbows, you can do that. Adds a little weight. And just pulls the upper torso away from the hips. Breathe deep into the back of the legs and the whole back body. Continuously tilt the sit bones up toward the sky. Press down through all four corners of your feet. If you're grabbing opposite elbows, breathe deep into that spot in between your shoulder blades. Take one more big breath here. And then release the arms if you grabbed your elbows. Bend deeply into the knees. Place the hands on the thighs and come on up slowly with a flat back. All the way up. Bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. Just take a moment here. Close the eyes. And arrive on the mat. And let everything else fall away. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you let that out through an open mouth, let the hands come down by the sides. Inhaling, sweep the arms up overhead. Deep, big breath in. And then as you exhale, let the hands come into prayer, bend the knees, and start to fold forward. Inhaling, reach the crown of the head forward. Hands can be on the shins. And then as you exhale, step your left foot back into a lunge and lower the knee down. Bring the hands to the thigh and come on up. Press the left hip forward and get heavy in the hips. Use the front foot as a brake, so come as deep into the lunge as feels good, or you can back up out of it. Maybe the hands float up overhead. Press the chest away from the back foot as the back toes ground into the ground. Take a deep breath in here. And if you're reaching up, as you exhale, let your right hand come down by the side. Inhaling, get higher with that left hand, and as you exhale, side bend toward the right. Fingertips can float or come down to the ground. If this doesn't feel good, stay right here with the hands on the front thigh. Your choice. Keep pressing that left hip forward. And then inhale, coming up. Exhaling the left hand down. Inhale, reach the right arm up. And as you exhale, side bend toward the left. Press your chest away from the back foot, and you're turning toward the right as you side bend to the left. And then come on back up, stretch it up. And then place the hands around the front foot and pull the hips back to stretch into a half split. Keep the knee bent, and as you inhale, the crown of the head reaches toward the front of the mat. And then as you exhale, you fold. And you can do that a couple more times. Inhaling to get long. Exhaling to bow. Pulling the right hip back away from the front heel. Now as you inhale, come forward into that lunge. Plant the left hand and then reach up with the right. So you're twisting toward the right. And just open up and twist. Drop your left hip. So you feel that stretch in the front of the thigh and the hip flexor. Get low. If you want to add a little more fire, you can curl those back toes under and lift the back knee. If you're doing that, press into the mat with your finger pads. Lift up out of that shoulder. Wherever you are, lower that knee down, turn back toward the front, frame the front foot with your hands, fingertips are tented, and lift that back knee and then scoot your left foot in about a foot. Inhale to get long, and you can start up here with your hands on your shin. Right knee is bent, getting long, and then start to fold forward. Again, keeping that knee bent and pulling the right hip away from the front foot. Pyramid pose, stretch into the front leg. Now on your next inhale, set both feet to the front of the mat, get long, reach the crown of the head forward, and then exhaling, bow. Again, bending the knees. Inhaling, bend deeply into those knees. Come on up to stand, reach up. Deep breath in. Exhaling, bring the hands into prayer in front of the heart. Return to center. And we'll take that to the other side. Inhaling, sweep the arms out and up. Exhaling, bend the knees, bow forward. Inhale, crown of the head reaches toward the front of the room. Exhaling, step your right foot back into a lunge and lower the knee down. Bring your hands to your thigh, come on up. Press the right hip forward this time. Stretch into the right hip flexor. You can keep your hands right there, maybe dropping down into the lunge or coming up out of it, depending on how much stretch you feel like you need there. If you want to float the arms up, go ahead and do that. Press the chest away from the back foot. If you want to come with me with these side bends, inhaling, reach up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your left fingertips down. Inhale, reach higher. Exhaling, bend toward the left. Turn toward the right. Stretch that side waist. And then inhale, come on up. Same thing, other side. On your next exhale, let your right hand float down. Inhaling, the left fingertips up. Exhale, bend toward the right. Fingertips can stay floating. And then inhale, both hands up. Reach up. And bring your hands down by the front foot. Pull the hips back, toes go up toward the sky. Half split. If you want to take those undulations, inhale the crown of the head forward, spine is long. Exhaling, pull the hip back and bow. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. And then hold it here in half split. Knees bent if it needs to be, pulling the left hip back. Crown of the head is reaching toward the toes. Then coming forward back into that lunge, plant the right hand this time, and then twist and open. Reach the left arm up. Drop into the hips, so get heavy. And lift up and out of the right shoulder. If you want to add that fire, curl the back toes under and lift the back knee. Just intensifies the stretch and press down with all your fingertips on your right hand. And then release that. Frame the front foot with your fingertips. Lift the back knee and then scoot that foot in about a foot or so. Inhale to get long, front knee is bent. And exhaling, bow it into pyramid pose. Again, now this time you're turning your left sit bone up toward the sky. That's what pulls the knee towards straight. Doesn't have to straighten. Deep breaths. And on your next inhale, rock it forward to bring both feet to the front of the mat. Get long in the spine, prepare, and exhaling, you fold. And bend the knees deeply, come on back up to stand, reach up, and bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. Step the feet about the width of the mat and let the toes go into turnout. And we're going to come into a squat. Protect the knees, so you may want to come down, bring your elbows to your knees, and then bring it down. You hear mine? I don't know if you can hear mine popping as I do this. So I always rock back and forth as I come into a squat, and it just kind of protects the knees and lets them open up on their own. You bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart, press the knees away. The crown of the head, reach away from the sit bones, get long. And just close the eyes. Let the hips open. If this isn't working for your knees, feel free to sit back and just bring your elbows to the inner knees, same thing. Now you can stay right there, or we'll add a twist. You reach your left fingertips out toward the left, and then reach the right arm up. If that doesn't feel good on the shoulder, you might just want to press that right knee away, twisting toward the right. Maybe your arm is up. Open, breathe. And then come on back to center. We'll take that to the other side. Reach the right fingertips out and the left arm up. Maybe you're just pressing into the left knee. That works too. It's more about the twist than the shoulder. come on back to center. Let's take that one more time each side just because it's awesome. So left hand down, right arm up. And back to center. Right hand down, left up. And back to center. Now wherever you are, just sit back on your butt. Let the right or the left foot go out in front of you and bring your right to the inner thigh. Bend into the knee and then pull the hip back and away as you tilt the pelvis forward. Inhaling to get long, and then exhaling, start to lean forward. And we're not super warmed up today to do these stretches, so breathe deep into the back of the leg. Just visualize the fibers opening up, getting long and wide. Don't press too hard, just lean into the stretch and let your body tell you how far to go. Now you can stay here, leaning forward. You may want to add a little bit of a twist by grabbing the outer left foot. Stretches the right lower back. Coming up, reach both feet forward, and we'll take an incline plane. So we're just going to bring the hands behind, fingertips toward the hips, and lift up. If that's not working for you, maybe do a tabletop, bring the feet in closer. Otherwise, incline plane, maybe the head goes back, maybe it stays up. Just to counterpose those front folds we've been doing. Let the hips come down and change sides. So bring the left foot into the inner thigh, bend the knee, pull the hip back and away, and start to come forward. Breathe in the back of right leg. Maybe add the twist, left hand to the outer right foot. Then walk the hands up. One more incline plane or tabletop. And then bring it down, bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side, Baddha Konasana. Bring the fingertips behind, and your heels can be as close to or as far away from your hips as you want. And start to tilt the pelvis forward. And if you're dealing with lower back pain, you don't want to round too much because you'll be pulling that area, right? So we want to press the fingertips into the ground, keep the back flat, and just tilt forward. Maybe sitting up on something to help that. Because really we just want gravity to do its job here. We don't want to pull forward. Breathe deep into the hips. If the body lets you in, maybe the hands come forward, but they don't have to. Just breathe and open. Each breath brings you a little deeper into the pose. Good idea to keep the eyes closed so you can just feel your way through it. One more big breath here. And then walk the hands up, cross the legs, and roll over the knees so that you can come and roll down onto your stomach. And we're just going to take one back bend today. We'll take a Sphinx pose. So shoulders over the elbows. And you're going to pull the chest through the shoulders. If this doesn't feel good on your back, it should feel great. If it doesn't, you may want to take a child's pose here or just lie down. Stack the palms and rest the forehead. Rock the hips back and forth, release the glutes so that you're just pulling the chest through the shoulders. Then release, let the elbows go out to the side, press the hands into the ground, and come on back to child's pose if you're not there already. Rest the forehead, let the knees go wide, and just breathe into the back. You can stay right there, or we're going to add a little bit of a side bend. So walk the hands over toward the right and lean into the left armpit. So open that side waist. And then come on back to center, and then walk the hands over toward the left and lean into the right armpit. And then back to center. And coming forward onto hands and knees, we're going to take a variation of a side plank. So you're going to turn over onto the left hip. And just let that rest right there. Bring your right foot in front of you and stretch your left leg long. And we're going to add a little bit of movement here, but you may want just this stretch. So with your foot planted and your hand planted, your fingertips are gripping the mat. Lift up out of that shoulder and you'll find a nice stretch in the side waist. It's really good. When my back hurts, this is the one thing I always do. Feels great. We're going to add a little movement to it to kind of open that up. So as you inhale, lift the hip and let the arm go up overhead. And then exhale, bring the hip back down. If that doesn't feel good, you may want to just stay down. Inhaling up and exhale down. One more time. And down. And then we're just going to rest here for a moment. Maybe bring your elbow to your front knee. I always feel like I'm posing for a picture. So smile. Maybe wave. Stretch into that sideways. It's good stuff. All right, then bring both legs together and just roll to the front. And we'll just take the other side. So bring your right hip down this time. Left foot out in front. Lifting up out of that shoulder, so we're pressing down and gripping the mat with my finger pads. Maybe just hanging out there. If you want to add that flow, inhale to lift up, reach overhead, exhaling, lower down. Inhaling and exhaling. Last time like this. And then just resting there for a moment, letting that hip open up. Release and come back to a wide-legged child's pose. And then come back to all fours and step forward with your right foot into a lunge. And then heel toe your foot over toward the left. So we're coming into pigeon. So bringing the knee behind the right wrist and the heel as close to the hip as you need to in order for the knee to feel comfortable. So stay up high, just sort of check that out. If that feels okay, lift the back knee and pull the hips back and lower down. You get a nice opening in the outer hip here. Drawing the heel in toward the hip if needed, maybe putting padding under the knee. Just make sure that knee is not getting twisted or torqued in this. You just want a nice opening for the hip. And if it feels like too much, coming up higher will help with that. Now you can recline here if you want, but press the hips back with the hands. That's just going to intensify the stretch and really get in there. Right foot is flexed. As you come forward, keep pressing the hips back. Couple more big breaths here. Imagine you're deflating that hip. All that tension melting away. Walk the hands up, come back to hands and knees. And we'll just take the other side. Maybe scoot back a minute, rock the hips back and then forward. Step forward with your left foot, walk it over toward the right, and then lower the knee down. Staying up high to check that out. Foot is flexed. Then lift the back knee, scoot the hips back, and lower down. If you've practiced with me before, you've probably heard me say my left hip is always tighter than my right. And so I always have to give it a little grace, a little extra time, especially in poses like pigeon, to open up. So you always want to make sure you're paying attention. One side can be different from the other, and it can vary from day to day. So pressing the hips back and breathe deep. Close your eyes and feel your way through it. Breathing into the left hip and letting it deflate as you exhale. If you come all the way down onto elbows, keep pressing them into the ground so you keep shifting the hips back. couple more big breaths into left hip. And then walk the hands up, lean all the weight into the left hip so you can bring both legs around and just roll right down onto your back. Draw the knees into the chest, give them a little squeeze. And we'll do a little more stretching and twisting for that low back. So let the feet float up toward the sky and bend into the knees as much as you need to. Press the heels up and away. You can grab the backs of the knees, the calves, or the big toes. And just press those heels up and let your tailbone go long along the ground toward the front of the mat. Really, it's less about a leg stretch and more about flattening out the back. So let it go toward the front of the mat, tailbone. And press the heels up and away from that. And then keep your right leg where it is and release the left. And you can bring the bottom of the foot to the floor or let it go long out along the mat. And we're just going to keep stretching as we are into the right leg. So press that heel up toward the sky, long in the low back. And we'll take that into a twist. So you can grab the outside of the right foot, bend the knee deeply, and twist over toward the left by rolling onto the outer left hip. And then start to work towards straightening the leg. If that doesn't work, grab the outside of the knee and pull that across. Right arm reaches toward the right. And if that tweaks the low back, bring your knees together and stack them and twist that way. Trying to stretch here. We're not trying to hurt anything. So just breathe and open. If you've got the outside of the foot, stretch that leg long toward the left. Get the IT band in on the action. Breathe and open. Come on back to center. We'll take that to the other side. So bring your left foot up toward the sky. And your right foot can be on the ground or stretched out in front of you. And just stretch into the left leg. Bending into that knee, grab the outside of that foot or the knee and draw it across toward the right. Left arm floats out toward the left. Look left. Stacking the knees if that feels better on the back. And then release, come on back to center. Draw the knees in one more time. Give them a squeeze. And then let the legs stretch out in front of you. Feet flop open. Hands flop open, palms to the sky. Close the eyes. Shavasana. Let everything just sink into the earth. For just this moment, you have nowhere to go and nothing to do. Just get heavy. Now you can stay here as long as you like. And when you're ready, start to bend into the knees and bring the bottoms of the feet to the floor. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat and let your knees knock together. Just again, releasing the low back. Bring the hands to the upper thighs. Then draw your knees in toward the chest. Give them a squeeze. And however you want to come on up to sit, find a comfortable seat. Bring the backs of the hands to the knees. Close the eyes. Crown of the head, reach away from the tailbone. Namaste. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's class and you're looking for more, join me over on lcyoga.com. There you're going to find lots of classes and content that doesn't exist here on YouTube. Longer classes, complete beginner series, intermediate flows, lots of content that is commercial free and exclusive to the website. So if you're ready, join me on lcyoga.com and I'll meet you there.